Welcome back to Politics Tonight, everyone. Thank you so much for staying with us. Tonight, we continue a post-mortem of a governorship election, and my guest tonight is Asue Ighodalo, PDP governorship candidate in the 2024 governorship election. Mr. Ighodalo, thank you so much for staying with us on the program. Can you hear me now, sir?
Thank you. I can hear you loud and clear.
All right.
Okay.
So my first question to you before we lost signal was that you believed that you won that election, and your party, the PDP, is on the same page with you. But as a lawyer, I want to believe that this is far from the emotional gimmicks typical of every Nigerian politician who has just lost an election. And I expect that you should be speaking with fact. So what evidences do you have? Kindly hold on, Mr. Ighodalo. So what evidences do you have to back up your claims?
Okay, thank you very much. We won the elections without a doubt, and I'm not a typical politician that cries wolf when there's no wolf. We've filed our petition, and at the tribunal, we'll tender our evidence and our proof. But it's clear beyond doubt, 98% of those results have been uploaded, and we also have the outcome of the uploading of 98% of the results. So at the tribunal, we will tender our evidence. I've been a lawyer for 40 years, and I'm not one of those lawyers that'll go chasing where there's nothing to chase. If we felt that we didn't win the election fair and square, we'd be the first to admit that, or I'd be the first to admit that anyway, and we'd move on. I'm not one of those guys that don't have a second address, you know. I came into this to work for my people, for the benefit of my people, and I'd give my people a choice. If they didn't think they wanted me, then fair and square. So without a doubt, without a doubt, you come into Edo State, it's like as if the people are in mourning. But by God's grace, we'll reclaim our mandate after we've gone through the tribunal.
All right. You know, you've made a serious allegation against the Nigeria Police Force and the electoral umpire. From what I know, you accused the All Progressives Congress in the state of colluding with the Nigeria Police Force and some compromised officials of INEC to manipulate the election results. So how many polling units were you rigged out? Is this a case of overvoting, or at what point did you think you were rigged out?
You know, if you look at the processes that day, there are parts of the processes that worked well. So primarily, mainly at the polling unit level, things seem to work well. A lot of the uploading at the onset seemed to work well. And that's why we could get up to about 98% uploading. The problem started at the local government collation centers. And that would be about 9:30, between 9:30 and 10 on Saturday night, when it was clear to the APC that they lost the election woefully. And so you saw policemen going into collation centers at local government level, tear gassing everybody, sending out collation agents, and then insisting that all the collation should be moved to the INEC office. You jumped 2 steps in the process, going by the electoral law and the guidelines. And that's not the process. Worse still, they moved all the collation into the INEC office. They did not allow the PDP collation agents to be represented. APC agents went in and out of the INEC office. PDP agents couldn't go in. I went to the INEC office and they didn't let me in. And I introduced myself as a candidate. All agents are my agents. So if nobody else has a right to be at the collation center, I have a right to be there. They didn't let me in. My deputy came with me. They didn't let us in. But I was standing there and I saw APC agents, policemen, INEC officials going in and out. You know, the sad part of this whole thing is this. Anybody that captures INEC and captures the police has captured the Nigerian state. That means that the people of this country do not have a right to choose their leaders, regardless of what their leaders do. So all you need to do, like some people have now done, is wait and capture the police and capture some parts of INEC or some rogue elements in INEC. So when other people are out campaigning, convincing people why they should vote for you, presenting your manifesto, spending all day and night talking to farmers, talking to market people, talking to business people, encouraging people as to the future, talking to youths as to why they should stay with the democratic process, encouraging them not to lose faith, continue voting. Some other people just wait for you, and they spend their time capturing rogue elements in the police force, capturing rogue elements in INEC, and that's all they need to do. I think that's the beginning of the end of the democratic process in this country. We've seen it happen in some states. It's now happened in Edo State. It probably will happen in Ondo State. And I don't think as a country we can continue that way. Democracy is to allow or you enable people to choose their leaders of their own free will. And if you want to continue serving the people, then you work hard for the benefit of the people. You don't go and wait, capture INEC, capture police, and insist that you must impose the kind of governance of the kind of people that will govern on the people. It won't work. It can't continue.
All right. Mr. Ighodalo, I'm sure you know it's your word against theirs, but it's almost a month since that election took place. But as you gather your documents and evidences from the declaration by INEC, APC garnered 291,667, while you garnered 274,247 votes. So from what you have now, based on collation from every sources available to you, what was your overall figure?
We'll say that and state that at the tribunal. You know, what I can tell you clearly is that through our petition, through the process, and through the evidence we provide, we clearly won the election. And at the end of the process, we're confident that we will be declared the outright winners of that election from the evidence that we provide, the untampered evidence. If you notice, and you go on IREV and you go on the INEC portal, you will notice that things have changed since the 21st. They change things, post things, remove things. So you know there's a lot of tampering going on. But we have our evidence very clearly, and at the tribunal, we'll tender the evidence we have, and we'll take it on from there. So we're very confident, and that's why we keep telling our people in Edo State to stay calm, to stay strong, to have faith, to have hope. We also believe that the judiciary gets it right most of the time. The judiciary is the last hope of the common man.
But Mr. Ighodalo, you're not answering my question, because you just said that you were rigged from the polling units to the ward and then local government. So I'm asking, from the sources you've been able to gather, from the available sources with you, what exactly is your overall figure? If you're claiming that you've been... that was the first answer I gave you. I said that the tribunal will provide that answer. I'm not going to try my case on this program. At the tribunal, the answer, that's exactly what we're going to do at the tribunal, provide that answer. Okay. That's what I said. At the tribunal, we'll provide that answer. All right. So are you confident that... By the time we go through the process of our petition, we'll get to our final figure, and we'll get to the final figure of the APC. Right. So are you confident that these figures or the evidence you have is enough to get the victory you seek, or at the end of the day would be regarded as an abuse of court process or lacking in merit? Oh, I said I've been a lawyer for 40 years. Okay. You know, we won't just come to court for the fun of going to court. And we've said it from day one. We said it from the 21st, on the 22nd. We've said it every day, that we can see clearly, the whole world can see clearly, and the whole world could see clearly the outcome of that election. But we need to go past that. We need to convince the tribunal, and then we know probably go on appeal. If the other side go on appeal, and they probably will, we'll convince the appellate courts. You know, we have clear evidence, and we're very confident. And we keep telling our people that we're very confident. And I am very confident. The party is very confident. Our lawyers are very confident. All right. And when the petition becomes public, I hope you take a copy of our petition and go through it. And I'm sure when you've gone through it, you also will become very confident. All right, then. You know, it's fair for you to say you've been rigged, but your attack on the institutions of the Nigerian state have been described by many as a carryover of your pre-election strategy of using propaganda to attempt to intimidate state institutions and pull a wool over the faces of the electorate. And many say they expected better from you, Mr. Asue Ighodalo. So have you had a second thought about that? I think that's a thorough and total APC propaganda campaign, negative propaganda.
if you look through the campaign process, I've always stayed on the issues. I've stayed on the points. I haven't worked on propaganda. If you see the captains of propaganda, the captains of negative propaganda, it's been the APC. I haven't done anything that suggested that I was focusing and relying on propaganda. Throughout this, we've stayed on the issues, we've argued the issues, we've talked about what we're going to do for the people, how we will do what we're going to do for the people, and how we can do what we're going to do for the people. So those people who say that are actually agents of the APC and APC folks, you know, and that's because they have nothing to offer the people of Edo State. So they've relied on propaganda, they've stayed on propaganda, they've relied on lies, and they've stayed with the lies, and the people know the difference between propaganda and the lies. That's why the people came out massively to vote for us, regardless the intimidation, regardless the victimization, regardless the militarization of Edo State during the election process, and then regardless even the elements it was raining throughout the day. But people came out in their numbers to vote for us. So we're very confident. That's why I keep telling the people that they should not lose hope. They should stay confident, they should stay calm, and they should just stay focused.
But what you politicians say is that there is no perfect election anywhere. And some CSOs have given INEC a pass mark. Yes, I mean, delays here and there, few logistics issue or logistical issue.
I'm not sure which CSOs you're talking about.
But we must agree that... Kindly hold on, Mr. Ighodalo. Kindly hold on. Let me pull this question over to you.
I don't know which of the CSOs gave INEC a pass mark.
So some CSOs have given INEC a pass mark. But we must agree that there were some improvements. For instance, INEC promised to upload results of the elections on IREF, which the commission fulfilled, because as at 9 p.m., the result from the portal indicated that about 4,259 results out of 4,500 have been uploaded on the IREF.
If you had seen those many results, you would have known you won. You know, so, you know, you're playing with words. You know, maybe some things worked well, but the end result is what we're talking about, and the effect of the end result. What we've seen is state capture of some rogue elements in INEC and some rogue elements in the police force. A combination of those rogue elements in both institutions. And I didn't condemn the whole institution or the whole of those institutions. I condemned the rogue elements within those institutions that combined with the APC to rig the elections. Even the APC situation room, as at 9 p.m., was showing us as having won the election. So, you know, that's why I said, let's go to court. We'll go to the tribunal, and I hope you attend the tribunal. And at the tribunal, we'll tender all the evidence we have.
Our reporters are everywhere.
Good. I expect your reporters to come, and they'll report the proceedings.
All right.
So we're very confident. You know, so all I just want to keep telling our guys is that guys should have hope. You know, Olajumoke, we need to be very careful in this country. You know, we worked hard and we fought hard for democracy, and we want democracy to succeed in Nigeria. I was one of the people that fought hard for democracy in this country, and it'll really pain me if by the acts of people that didn't even know what was happening when some of us were fighting for democracy, we then lose that opportunity and lose that chance. Regardless forms of governance, democracy is still the best form of governance, and we need to make it work in Nigeria. We can't have folks capturing institutions of states and then subverting the will of the people of Nigeria, because it's dangerous. And at the end of the day, the repercussions may be things we really can't live with. So that's what's worrying me about all of this. That's what's concerning me.
I hear you, Mr. Ighodalo, but let's take a break. And when we come back from that break, we will continue this conversation. Please stay with us, everyone.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Politics Tonight, everyone. Mr. Asue Ighodalo, PDP governorship candidate in the 2024 governorship election, is still with us on the program. Mr. Ighodalo, thanks a lot for staying with us. So I want you to react to how the APC has described your attempts to water down the efforts of the electoral umpire. Because in a statement signed by its publicity secretary, the party says you and your party, the PDP, did not have any mandate, and that only sore losers behave this way. They need to keep quiet. This is me quoting the APC now. They need to keep quiet now because the case is sub judice. They have gone to court. They cannot be a party in a case and be given judgments in their matter. They should let the tribunal do its job to say who won and who did not. we will meet them headlong in court. The PDP does not have any existing mandates that were stolen. Is it not an existing mandate that they steal? So you may want to react to that, because there are also allegations that your party disrupted the inspection of electoral materials at the INEC office.
I didn't expect them to say different, because like I told you earlier, they're captains of negative propaganda and lies. So what would you expect them to say? On the issue of disruption of the inspection of materials, it's very laughable. From the first day that we got the court order to inspect materials, some elements in INEC and the APC did everything humanly possible to subvert that process. They brought thugs to the INEC office. The INEC official did not contribute or did not participate or did not even encourage the process of reviewing the electoral materials that I wanted to review. Each day, there was an excuse by the APC. On one day, they said they had a petition. It's really laughable. There's an INEC lawyer there. A petition vis-a-vis a court order. On other days, they'll come and threaten our people. They stab our people. They manhandled our people, assaulted our guys, broke their telephones, did all manner of intimidating acts against our people. And then they turn around and they say, we were the intimidators. We're not the intimidators. We're the guys that had the order. We're the guys that went peacefully into the INEC office. We didn't come with thugs. We didn't come with anybody other than lawyers and those who are going to inspect the materials for the purposes of our petition. So, if INEC, the APC go out and lie and say things that are crassly and totally untrue, it's painful that they spew such things into the public arena. And in the
Mr. Ighodalo, there were disturbing instances of vote buying and logistical challenges in that election.
I'd answered that question.
If I ask you now, kindly hold on. If I ask you now, I'm sure you would say your party was not involved in vote trading. But if I'm to go by the reports of election observers who were on ground, there was massive vote buying. Even your fellow contender, Olumide Akpata, attested to the prevalence of financial inducement on election day. He outrightly accused PDP and APC. So, it just looks like one party was smarter than the other. So the issue of financial inducement, how damaging is this to our electoral integrity?
Olajumoke, I have said that before, and I'm going to say it again. We did not buy any votes in the PDP. I am not aware that we bought votes. I'm confident that we did not indulge. We didn't need to indulge. We'd worked with the people. We'd encouraged the people. We'd campaigned. And we had the people on our side. Regardless the vote buying by the APC, regardless the amount of money they spent on the field on the day, we still won that election fair and square. Let me say one other thing. If we had indulged in vote buying, the police who on the side of the APC would have arrested our boys for vote buying or any form of electoral malpractice on the day, because we had police all over the place and they were watching very carefully. So if our guys had done anything wrong, they would have pounced on them. Police had been intimidating and harassing our guys 2 months before the election, up until election day, past election day. So I can tell you for free that if we had indulged in any election malpractice on the day, in any of the polling units, our guys would have been arrested. And there would have been a loud shout about it all over the press. So I can tell you for free.
Because you just mentioned the issue of police, one of the main issues concerning that election was security. There were apprehensions about violence on election day. So how much would you say this manifested on polling day?
There were places where there was quite a lot of violence. Esako West, for instance. The police came in there with some thugs, and they shot at the people that were in the polling, that were in the collation center. And a number of other places in Akoko Edo, or Edo, there were different places, pockets of violence. But by and large, I think the violence wasn't as bad as we all thought it could have been. It could have been worse. The whole state was militarized anyway, so most people were very careful about what they did. But again, we were not pushing back violently. We didn't have the forces of violence with us, so we didn't push back. We weren't violent. We went about voting peacefully. We stayed with our votes. We followed our votes from polling unit to collation center until we got to the local government collation center, and then we were tear gassed. And we were then pushed away and driven away, and the collation was moved to the INEC office. Up until that point, things seemed to be going okay. So we had no reason to be violent, and we didn't have agents of violence on our side anyway. So how are we going to be violent? We didn't have the police. We didn't have ammunition. Our guys stayed true to the course of electioneering on the day. And that's why we feel so sad about what happened ultimately, and we feel so sad about the process.
Let's talk about voter apathy, because according to data from the Independent National Electoral Commission, over 2 million voters in Edo State collected their permanent voter cards for the election out of about 2.5 million registered voters. So evidently about 60% of the registered voters did not turn up on election day. This is a growing trend, and I'm sure you would agree with me that this is a growing trend, which has grievous implications for the prospect of democracy in the country. How did you think the attitude of you and your other contenders contributed to this?
No, I don't know what you mean by the attitude. I don't know what you mean.
So this is what I mean. Mr. Ighodalo, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. We've always believed that Edo election is a family affair, but this just concluded election became a do-or-die affair because the political gladiators made it so. The kinds of statements coming out from Edo State at that time was alarming. And because you're here tonight, now let me use the governor as an example. Kindly hold on, sir. Kindly hold on, sir.
Please, I don't want you to make statements that are not correct.
Okay, so kindly hold on. You would correct me. Kindly hold on.
There are recordings of what happened through the campaigning process.
Mr. Ighodalo, kindly hold on. You must listen to my question. Kindly hold on, sir. You must listen to my question. You have enough time to react. I want to use the governor as an example because you're here tonight. The governor was caught on camera saying the country will burn if this and that does not happen. I mean, no level of immunity should make a sitting governor make such statements. And for many Nigerians, it was an outright call for anarchy. During the collation of results as well, Governor Obaseki was seen at the INEC Collation Center. He says he was there to meet the resident electoral commissioner after getting reports that the commission had stopped collation. I mean, regardless, you know he was not supposed to be there. But how do we ensure that this does not lay a bad precedent for future elections? So you can now react, sir.
Now, what doesn't lay a bad precedent? The process that the INEC and the police and the APC followed, that's what was laying a bad precedent for the future of electioneering in Nigeria. That's why if you talk about apathy, which was the first thing you said, people get into that state of mind because they feel their votes don't count. And if you see what happened in Edo State, it further accentuates people's view that their votes don't count. You know, if at the end of the day, after people have spent time voting, guarding their votes, supporting their votes, people just come and announce any figure as the figure that carried the day, then how do you expect people to step out next time to come out and vote? So that's why it's getting increasingly worse, voter apathy. You know, I spent a lot of time during the campaigns, particularly with the young people, encourage them to go and vote, trying to promise them that their votes will count this time around because they still haven't recovered from 2023 elections. And I kept talking to them. And now many of them have come back to me that you promised us that our votes would count. At the end of the day, our votes didn't count. And you weren't able to do very much about it. You know, and really, that's what makes me truly sad. You know, we need to ensure that our electoral process works well. You know, we need to ensure that the umpire is an unbiased and neutral umpire. We need to ensure that our security agencies are unbiased and neutral. A situation where security agencies arrest the members of one political party as against another political party or other political parties cannot be acceptable. A situation where you use as security agencies to intimidate members of one political party or people that want to vote for one political party cannot be acceptable. So, you know, we need to look at the way we practice democracy coming up to elections. And the point I was trying to make to you was this. You know, all of our campaigns were effectively recorded. If you have time, please take time and go back to our campaigning. APC campaign, PDP campaign, LP campaign, everybody else's campaign. If you see, through the campaigns, I stayed with the issues. I stayed on the issues. I talked about our manifesto. I talked about what we'll do for the people. I talked about moving Edo State from a third world sub-sovereign into a first world sub-sovereign. That's the only thing I talked about. I am the one on the ballot. I and my deputy were the ones on the ballot. And everything we focused on was what would improve the life of the people of Edo State. And that's what we talked about. And we kept campaigning, convincing people. That's all we talked about. Anybody that's not on the ballot can say what they want to say. But we were the representatives of the party for this election. And if you see, through the last 10 months that I've been campaigning for the primaries to date, after the primaries with my running mate, we have not said anything that's incendiary. We have not said anything to heat up the environment. We stayed only on the issues.
I hope Nigerians agree with you. But for those who say...
No, but I said, please look at the recordings. Okay. It's not a question of we hope people agree. The proof and the evidence is there.
All right. So for those who say the outcome of that election was the repercussion of you and Governor Obaseki underestimating Edo people. They say you were a candidate who didn't have local roots. They called you a Lagos boy. They said you could not even speak your dialect. And some say it was not you Edo people rejected. They say you're a good man and you would make a fine governor only if you were not affiliated to Governor Obaseki. There were also insinuations that your emergence as candidate is Governor Obaseki's third-term project. And it was hypocritical that Governor Obaseki, who had always been against the idea of godfatherism in politics, who had always said, deal with me if I become a godfather, and now has a godson. How do you respond to such statements?
Ajumoke. You know, I said it before and I'm saying it again. APC are champions in negative propaganda. So all of that came from the APC. When they want to disparage us, when they wanted to disparage me, when they wanted to disparage a leading candidate and a leading party. And, you know, throughout the election process, we were way ahead of the polls and they didn't know what to do. So they came out with all this negative propaganda and all of these lies. Let me say very clearly, I came into this election of my own free will, of my own volition, wanting to work for the people of Edo State. I won the primaries of the PDP fair and square, went through 15 cases of aspirants and my colleagues challenging me. And by God's grace, I won all of the 15 cases. High court and appellate court. You know, so for me, when the champions of negative propaganda continue saying those negative things that don't truly make sense, I kind of brush them off because I'm focused on what I want to do for the people of Edo State. And I'm focused on carrying my message to the people of Edo State. And I truly thank the people of Edo State. I truly thank them because they heard our message, they accepted our message, and they came out to vote for us in their thousands. You know, so for me, that's the most important thing. You know, people that don't have a message, that don't have a manifesto, that don't want to talk about what they are going to do for the people, other than negative propaganda, I really wouldn't join issues with them, and I wouldn't debate with them. Because we stayed on the issues, I stayed on the issues, and I stayed on my manifesto and what I was going to do for the people of Edo State. And the people of Edo State bought it. So I truly thank the people of Edo State, and I'm really grateful to the people of Edo State. It shows that we're a discerning people. We know right from wrong, and we know what we want from what we don't want. Now, if people that have the coercive power of state now force us to accept what we don't want, then we'll see what happens down the line. But for me, like I said before, I believe that the judiciary remains the last hope of the common man. Most times the judiciary gets it right, and I hope this time the judiciary will get it right.
But I want us to be realistic, Mr. Ighodalo. In practical terms now, if half of Governor Obaseki's political allies who worked with him in 2020 left, Edo North, which many people call Adams Oshomole's stronghold with a Philip Schreiber factor. You look at Edo Central, the votes went into halves and limited votes, by the way. Edo South, where 7 out of the 10 House of Assembly members Obaseki refused to allow them represent their people, came from. The local government elections, which many call a sham. Do you agree with those who say too many factors worked against you in winning that election?
No, I totally disagree. You know, the issue really was this. We went out to the people of Edo State. We carried our story. We carried our manifesto. We convinced the people of Edo State that we were the ones that had something for them. We were the ones that had a plan that was workable. We explained how we would work the plan. We convinced Edo State people to vote for us and to support us. And I think that was the key. You know, if you want to start going into what other people did, the APC shouldn't have gotten 5,000 votes in Edo State, because if you look at historically what has happened since 2015 to date, what has happened in the APC government in 2015 to date, in a normal environment, they shouldn't get 5,000 votes. You know, but we've left that and we've said, you know, everybody will step out and say to the people what they want to say, for what they want to do for the people, how they want to do what they want to do for the people, and how they will deliver. And that's what we spent our time doing. You know, we were not distracted by any other thing or by any other issue. And our people, and again, I thank the people of Edo State, our people agreed with us. Our people accepted our manifesto. They accepted what we said we would do. They believed in us. They believed in the process we said we would use to deliver. And for me, that was the most important thing. You know, we spent 10 months on the road every day, traveling to the 192 wards, to many units, to all of the local governments, again and again and again. Many markets, many offices, many farms, meeting people home to home, door to door. And that's how you campaign and convince people. You don't go and wait for people at the INEC office and at the police station. That's not going to work. That's not democracy. And democracy is not going to survive if we continue that way. You know, so we need to be able to step back and give our people the opportunity to decide what form of government they want, who they want to govern them. And that's the point we're making. And again, like I said, we filed a petition in court and we'll take it on from there.
All right. So before I let you go tonight, what is your message to the people of Edo State as you navigate through the judicial process?
My message is clear, and I've repeated it. First of all, I thank the people of Edo State. I thank them immensely. Regardless the odds, the intimidation, the harassment, the militarization, you know, even the elements, the rain, people came out in their thousands to vote for us. And people were truly intimidated through that voting process. So I truly thank them. And I want them to stay firm, to stay calm, and to continue having hope. I don't want people to lose hope in the system. Many of us worked hard for this democracy, and we'll do everything within our power, by the grace of God Almighty, to retain true democracy in Nigeria. You know, there's still kinks. There are many things wrong. There are all sorts of cowboys that have jumped into the parade and think that all they need to do is sit in one spot, capture rogue elements in INEC, capture rogue elements in the police force, and then they're done. But that's not going to work, and we're not going to let it happen in our country. Over time, we'll keep on improving the system, and by God's grace, we will get it right finally. You know, so I'm confident that the people of Nigeria know what they want, and the people of Nigeria will work assiduously to achieving what they want. And people want true democracy. People want their votes to count. You know, I'm tired of our youngsters saying they're off, they're going to other countries. They have to stay here. We have to encourage them to stay here because they are our future. They have to work to improve our country and make sure we move our country into the first world regime. And we need them here. But they're discouraged every day. So we need to ensure we create an environment that our children will stay in. And one strong element we must do is their right to determine the kind of government and leadership they want. And we'll continue working. I worked hard 1993 to 1998, and I will continue working until I draw my last breath. We must have an effective democratic and electoral process in this country. And by God's grace, we shall.
All right. Mr. Asue Ighodalo, thank you so much for joining us tonight. PDP governorship candidate in the 2024 Edo governorship election. And we wish you the very best at the tribunal. Thank you so much.
You didn't hear what I said. I said, please invite me again.
Yes, I will. We will. Okay, please, I look forward to more conversations with you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Good night, sir.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And thank you so much for watching, everyone. That's all we have for you on Politics Tonight. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Good night.